Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Tuesday, March 26, 2019, 5:46 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So, I'm getting a really late start today, but I'm going to do the show. So, we do have new methane data. Now remember, the last methane data I showed was from Monday the 18th, which was over a week ago, and then last night they put up data for Tuesday the 19th, but I couldn't get it to the movie to go. And then today, Tuesday is gone, and now they've got Wednesday the 20th up, and I got the movie going, so we're gonna look at Wednesday, March the 20th, so it's almost a week old. So here we are with where Tuesday would have left off. I have the Arctic view surface level pulled up on CAMS, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services. And so we're seeing a large release to the east of Novaya Zemlya, and we're seeing more building in Russia and a large release over here. Now the Yamal Peninsula is right here, and so this whole area this whole area down here to the south is releasing heavily. There could be a lot of oil drilling going on there, and I know permafrost is melting. It's you know, everything's heating up. So that's where it was at the end of Tuesday. And so here we go. When we run the movie, it'll smooth out after the first time through. And so the forecast period ran through Sunday. So here's this large release coming up from Siberia and moving across. Here's another large release in the Kara Sea. And now look up here. Watch right there. Well, I meant to pause it, but right at the end of the forecast period, which would have been Sunday, up here in this Chukchi Sea of this East Siberia ice shelf, I will get it paused this time, is getting darker. Watch. Okay, so this is at the end of Sunday, the forecast period, and we're seeing a release coming up here in the orangey and red region, and that's coming up through the sea ice, and the sun is coming up there. It's there's only a little black circle about like that on NASA Worldview, and since I got started so late today, I'm only going to cover methane and earthquakes and a couple of news items, and then tomorrow I'll plan on doing a little bit longer show, and we're going to look at sea ice up there in the Arctic and do some more things. And we have a lot of earthquakes going on. We've had 2 near the North Pole. They were right about up here. And Alaska's been having some today. They had first it was a 5.6, and then it got upgraded to a 6.0, and then it got downgraded, and I don't know what it's at now, but this is a cluster that's happening up at Kobuk, and it's setting off a whole bunch of others coming down. So things are happening. Things are definitely happening. So there's that. So since I got such a late start, I'd like to go right into some news items. One big news item is what's going on in New Zealand, and they've got a big winter storm down there. Now remember, they've been in a drought all summer, but now they've got a big storm, and it's washed out rivers and bridges and all kinds of stuff. So this is from New Zealand weather, radionz.co.nz. This is from March 26th at 8:21 p.m. This was New Zealand time, so it was yesterday for them. A state of emergency has been declared in Westland as torrential rain brings flooding to the region, with the Waiho Bridge south of Franz Josef Glacier totally washed out. Look at that. So this is going to be the new pattern. It looks like that once you have the drought and then you get the water in the atmosphere, it's so much water, then it just dumps all this rain from these atmospheric rivers. The Westland District Council declared the emergency earlier this evening, as there is a raised risk to life and injury for local residents and further risk to property. And here we can watch this. Can't really see it too good. It's still going. Where does it collapse? Anyway, you can click on this link and you can watch the YouTube video of the bridge collapsing. I haven't watched it yet, so we'll leave that going while I read. The heavy rain raised rivers to record levels, closed roads, and prompted evacuation warnings in the area. Some parts of Westland face up to 800 millimeters of rain during the downpour. The town of Hast is experiencing a 1 in 100 year flood, and 5 people were evacuated as a precaution. There it goes. Look at that. There goes the bridge. That's awful. That's just awful. It's gone. It's like totally gone. You can't even see it now. Wow. Well, there you go. The main road from just south of the town all the way north to Hokitika is closed. There has been minor breaches from the Hast River into some properties, and a welfare center has been opened in the Hast Hall. There is also localized flooding at Palmer's Creek on the south side of the Arahura River. The Blue Spur Road is currently impassable in places. The car park at the Hokitika Gorge has been temporarily closed. Here's that bridge that just collapsed. Ritchie's Bus Services has suspended all bus services tomorrow for the whole of the West Coast. River levels approach those last seen during the devastating 2016 floods. The council advised people living south of the Arawata Bridge to evacuate. The South Turnbull Road at Okuru is also flooding. A council spokesperson said many rivers had reached alarm levels and staff were continuing to monitor them to ensure preparations for emergency actions. The Transport Agency has extended the closure of the Southwestland Highway, and so on. Strong wind warning for Wellington and Wairarapa from 1 p.m. today through to tomorrow afternoon. Severe northwest gales gusting up to 120 kilometers an hour in exposed places could be expected, especially tomorrow morning. Met Service said residents of northwest Nelson, the Richmond and Tororo ranges, and around Mount Taranaki should watch for heavy rain. So heavy rain has been falling in southwestland, Fiordland, and the headwaters of South Canterbury and Otago lakes. You know, so now everything is flooding. So here, remember I showed that that big cloud that went all the way across Australia that was connecting with Veronica? Well, this is the tail end of that cloud, and it's moving, and it's covering up New Zealand, it looks like. That's an atmospheric river. So there's that article. And I have a follow-up article. This is day 2. Live updates, West Coast flooding, day 2. This is from the same website. This was updated at 12:47 p.m. today. Police have confirmed an elderly woman's body has been recovered from floodwaters north of Hokitika. Look at that. That's awful. Police were at the scene of Oroville Valley, north of Hokitika. The woman's body was pulled from floodwaters at about 9:19 a.m. Police said it appeared that the woman got out of the vehicle she was driving and tried to cross the floodwaters on foot. They said she was then swept away in the strong flowing current of surface flooding on Oroville Valley Road. Police are investigating her death, and her death has been referred to the coroner. Significant rain hit in the Westland District yesterday, and a state of emergency was declared after the Waiho Bridge was completely destroyed last night. Some parts of Westland had up to 80 millimeters of rain during the downpour, and the town of Hast is experiencing a 1-in-100-year flood. There's that picture again. State Highway 6 between Hokitika and Margo has reopened, but a slip on SH 73 on the Arthurs Pass Otira route between the West Coast and Canterbury has closed the highway and is unlikely to reopen today. And Franz Joseph and Hess schools are closed today. Heavy rain is tracking north today, away from the West Coast. So, there's that article. And now I have a little bit of Oroville Dam news. That's up here in Northern California. I've been tracking that Oroville Dam. Now this is from their blog, Oroville News Only.blog, their Oroville News blog. This was posted today, and the DWR prepares for potential use of Oroville's main spillway. The California Department of Water Resources, or DWR, is closely monitoring Oroville reservoir levels and current forecasts. Due to storms expected in the Feather River Basin, DWR is taking steps to prepare for use of the main spillway, potentially as early as the first week of April. They're following standard process of notifying regulatory agencies, local law enforcement, and local elected officials for the anticipated use, and they'll update everyone. They're removing construction equipment from the spillway chute. It will also remove a temporary road below the main spillway that's been utilized during construction. The road will be removed to minimize water quality impacts. Some turbidity is expected while the road is being removed. Downstream monitoring is in place to track water quality. In addition, temporary cameras and lights have been situated alongside the spillway for observational purposes when water begins to flow down the chute. The information below reflects current reservoir level estimates. Forecasts can change quickly and may affect the estimates provided. So right now, they're estimating that the reservoir is at 845 feet. And by April the 5th, based on the 10-day forecast, they estimate it will be up to 850 feet. The main spillway and the emergency spillway are reconstructed and able to handle flows as needed to manage lake levels and provide flood protection to the surrounding communities. So there's that. And, you know, some people are not optimistic about this considering how the dam failed. Not the dam, I'm sorry, the spillway broke up and failed 2 years ago. It was in March of 2017 when that happened. And so they spent $1.1 billion in reconstructing the spillway and the emergency spillway, and they haven't used it yet. So, you know, everyone's kind of holding their breath and kind of making bets on whether or not it's going to hold. So let's keep everyone in our prayers and all of these situations in our prayers, that everything will work out to the best possible way, best possible outcome on all of these situations. So we're going to leave that as a backdrop. We're going to keep New Zealand in our prayers, and we have friends down there. And shout out to Robin Westenra down in New Zealand. He's on the northern island, so he's not getting the flooding. That was on the southern island where that's happening. But it could move up there, you just don't know. So, now we're going to go right to our earthquake report. We're looking at USGS and for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours. And we're showing 281 worldwide. And of those, we've got, let's go to 2.5 magnitude. We've got 48 that are 2.5 magnitude and higher. Now we're going to start out, well, let's see what's going to come off the map. Pindolo, Indonesia. Oh, we're okay. I want to show you, first of all, see right up here, right above my arrow, there have been 2 earthquakes very near the North Pole, right on that red line, where the North American plate meets the Eurasian plate going up into the North Pole. And this is Novaya Zemlya, and so this is pretty near the North Pole, and there have been 2. You can't really tell So I'm going to start with those, and I'm going to can't really click on them real good, so I'm going to just go through. Sorry about this. So it would, okay, the that's not it. Let me do a search real quick. Well, it's not wanting to find what I'm wanting to find. So, tell you what we're gonna do. We'll see if we can get it. One of them, the latest one, is this 4.7, and it's they're calling it north of Severnaya Zemlya. This came in at 2:03 this afternoon, but there was a second one, and it won't let me grab it with it up there. See, it just won't let me grab them the way I want to. But the other one, it happened early this morning. It was 4.6 or something like that. Frankly, I can't remember. I'm not finding it right now. Maybe it's on this one. I'm not going to find it in 277 or whatever is there. But you can see two lines there. See, you can see them lined up. And they're right there on that red line in the Arctic Ocean. So that's definitely showing activity. There's that 4.7. I can pull that up, but it's covering up the other one. So I can't remember what that one was. It was a 4.6 or 4.3 or something like that. So there's that, and they just keep coming in. They just see, and a lot of fives. So frankly, I'm not quite sure where to start. And let's just start down here near off the coast of El Salvador. There were 4 here. The first one, the largest one, is a 5.6 near La Libertad, El Salvador at 5:01 this morning. And all these times are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. 4.9 near Puerto El Triunfo, El Salvador, 8:01 this morning. And then there was a 4.8 at the same place at 8:26 this morning. And then there was a 4.7 at the same place at 12:07 this afternoon. And that one's showing 56 kilometers deep. So we're seeing clusters as these things come in. We're definitely seeing clusters. Now, down here in the South Pacific was a 5.5 near Oholnua, Tonga at 2:54 this afternoon. Not showing the depth. It says 10 kilometers, but that's kind of a default depth if they don't know what it is or they don't want to say. Then there was a 4.9 near Lata, Solomon Islands at 8:32 this morning. Then there was a 4.3 near Yigo Village, Guam at 4:29 this morning, 110 kilometers deep. That says 4.3 kilometers. So that was in the ocean just off the coast of that little island. Now coming down here to Indonesia was a 4.8 near Manokwari at 10:01 this morning. Here's a 4.5 near Taniwi, Indonesia at 12:54 this morning. Here's a 4.9 near Tual, Indonesia at 10:37 this morning, 106 kilometers deep. Here's a 4.4 near Pindolo, Indonesia at 7:39 last night. That was on land. This red one means that it just came in. It's a 4.6 near Mole Bagu, Indonesia at 5:33 this afternoon, 200 kilometers deep. So there's all of those in the South Pacific. Now moving on up to Japan. Here's one off the coast, 5.4 near Takanabe, Japan at 5:11 this afternoon, 15 kilometers deep. And moving on up here to Russia. Now this one is interesting. This one is on land, and this is Bezimiani volcano and a whole bunch of others lined up. So it's not very far from all these volcanoes. It was a 4.2 on land, and it says it's near Ust-Kamchatsk, Stary, Russia at 8:23 last night, 139 kilometers deep. So that's our international ones. Not too many on the international front, but let's go to see what's cooking on Hawaii. We got 5 here today. We've got a 1.8 near Mauna Loa, 2.2 near Pahala, 1.9 near Pahala, 1.8 near Pahala, and a 1.9 near Lalani Estates. So that's not too bad down there. Now let's cover Dominican Republic while we're down here. We've got 7 here today. We've got a 2.9, 2.0, 2.6, 1.2, 2.1, 2.2, and 2.4. So those are not big enough to cause damage, but they're showing movement. Now, let's dig into Alaska, and we've got, how many on the map? 84. So the number is picking up. And of these 84, let's go see how many are 2.5 magnitude or higher. We've got 20 here that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So we'll start with these down here in the Aleutian Islands. 4.0 near Nikolsky at 8:24 this morning. 4.0 near Akutan at 11:13 this morning. 4.5 near Cold Bay at 4:33 this afternoon. 2.5 near Larsen Bay. 3.3 near Anchor Point at 2:05 this afternoon. And look at these in Anchorage that are 2.5 magnitude and higher. we've got a 2.7, 3.3, and a 2.8, all in this Anchorage area. So that's getting bigger. 2.8 near Sutton Alpine, and a 2.5 near Willow. Now, this is the big news of my day. We've got 10 up here at Kobuk that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. And so let's go up here. With all magnitudes, we're showing 18 here today in the last 24 hours. So we started out, where is Manly Hot Springs? Oh, it's over here. I'll get those off the map. Now we're down to 16. 15 over here. Okay, I just wanted to get down to Kobuk. So we've got 15, and we're starting out last night at 10:44 with a 1.7, and then 2.4 at 12:40 this morning. And at 12:43 was a 1.5, and so forth. So they've been coming in, and here's the big one. This one came in this afternoon at 2:27 p.m. 19 kilometers deep. They really downgraded this. Now they're showing it as a 5.2. At one point, they had upgraded it to a 6.0. So they're really downgrading this a lot. So this could cause damage, especially with all these aftershocks. So since then, so before that, 1, 2, 3, there were only 3 before that one. So since then, we've had all these aftershocks. So I'll just call them off. 3.8. That's at 0 kilometers depth. 3.3, 0 kilometers depth. Very shallow on some of these. 3.1, 2.8, 2.3, 2.8, 2.8, 2.3, 2.5, 2.5. This one's at 0 kilometers depth. And 3.5. So something's up. Something is up in Alaska. Here's a 1.8 near Koktovik. Now let's come on down through the state. We've got them peppered down through these mountains. And here's some of the larger ones. There's a 2.0 at Delta Junction, 2.1 at Cantwell, 2.0 at Cantwell, and then there's Anchorage. And look at all of these smaller ones down at the Cook Inlet. Redoubt Volcano is right along here. This is 1.8 near Redoubt. All of these could be affecting the Redoubt Volcano. So this is definitely picking up. And what I noticed as these earthquakes were coming in this afternoon, we had that large one that was at 227, and then this one down here at Tonga came in at 254. So just 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes later, you had it almost the same magnitude all the way across the Pacific, exactly the same. So everything affects everything else. And then we had this one that was at 511. And of course we've had these big ones over here. So everything affects everything else, and we'll look at this one in South America when we finish up. And they're still coming in. See? That one came in at 507. So now let's go down to the lower 48. And we're going to start out in North Carolina. We've got two. We've got a 2.6 near Archdale, North Carolina. This one came in last night at 9:32 p.m. And a 2.6 near Franklin, North Carolina. This one came in at 9:30 this morning. This one was 0.8 kilometers deep, so quite shallow. Then in the New Madrid seismic zone was a 2.8 near Steele, Missouri. This one came in at 1:07 this afternoon. Now look at Colorado. We've got a 1.8 near West Cliff, Colorado. This is near coming in that southern region. Here's Trinidad. Remember, we've had some down in this southern region at Trinidad and what was it? Can't remember. I'm having a brain fart. Alameda. Yeah. So this is West Cliff. This was at 9:26 this morning, 5 kilometers deep. So it's near this San Luis Valley that's so creepy, where they had all these cattle mutilations. Now Utah, there's a 1.6 near Escalante at 10:50 last night. One over here at East Carbon City at 1.9 at 10:51, same time, and notice the depth at a minus 1.2 kilometers depth. So you know what that means. It means it's up in the mountain. 0.9 near Bluffdale at 1:56 this morning. Now coming on up into the Yellowstone region. Oh, look, we've got the blasters are back. We've got a 1.7 magnitude quarry blast near Butte, Montana. This came in at 12:03 this afternoon at a minus 2 kilometers depth. Here's a 2.3 near Clinton, Montana at 11:30 this morning. Here's a 2.3 near Driggs, Idaho at 9:56 last night. And we've got, how many here? Oh my gosh, we've got 12 clustering here near West Yellowstone. Oh man, I'm telling you, things are picking up. This is why I said what I said at the end of my video last night about why I'm doing earthquakes, because in the Bible it says in the end times there will be earthquakes in diverse places, and this is part of the earth changes at the end times. So this will help us have a pulse on what's going on, because these earthquakes are like Mother Earth's pulse, and she's about to have a nervous breakdown, along with a lot of other people. So we're starting at 9:46 last night with a 0.6 here near West Yellowstone, Montana. And then a 1.2, then a 0.6, 1.9, 0.9, and they're all in the same place. 1.3, 0.9, 1.5, 1.5, 1.0, 1.6, and 1.1. And this one came in at 208 this afternoon. Well, none of these are showing a negative depth. So there's that. So Yellowstone's heating up. And just looking at that, you would just think there's one there. So you have to look at the list too to see. That's why I zoom in a lot, because sometimes you can't tell if they're all stacked up. Look at all these blasts. Here's a 1.9 magnitude explosion near Princeton, Canada at 10:15 this morning at a minus 0.2 kilometers depth. Then a 1.2 magnitude explosion near Kalama, Washington at 3 o'clock this afternoon at a minus 0.8 kilometers depth. 1.4 magnitude explosion near Louisville, Washington at 2:38 this afternoon at a minus 1.3 kilometers depth. 0.7 near Mount Hood Village. This one came in at 8:19 last night. Now Mount Hood is a volcano, by the way. See, there it is right there. It's right next to it. And then down here in Oregon was a 0.8 near Three Rivers at 7:11 this morning. Coming on down. Okay, in the Pacific, off the coast of the west coast of the United States here, we've got this this one right on the outside of this Juan de Fuca plate, right on this red line. 3.3, they're calling it off the coast of Oregon. This one came in at 3:43 this afternoon. And then more activity next to this Juan de Fuca plate on this red line, which is the San Andreas fault line, and this is the Cascadia subduction zone. We have a 2.7 near Petrolia at 5:51 this morning, and a 2.4 near Petrolia at 7:13 this morning. Then on land, a 1.8 near Redway, just to the east of that last one, at 11:47 this morning. And then up in Northern California was a 1.8 near French Gulch at 1:05 this morning. You can see that's not very far from Redding. It's just northwest of Redding. Down here at the geysers, we've got 26 listed today, where they're drilling into the volcano for geothermal pumping operations. Those are under 2s. There's a 1.8. That's probably the largest one. Next, coming on up over to Nevada. Look at this. We've got this cluster at Cold Springs, which is just north of Reno. See, Reno Sparks right down here. So this is northwest of Reno. We've been seeing these cluster here. I'll just call them off. A 1.6, 0.7, 0.7, 0.9, 0.4, 0.3, 0.5, 0.3, 0.7, 0.4, 0.2, 0.8. So they're small, but it's just concerning to see them all up there. Concerning to me, because I live, that's in my backyard practically. Okay, northern Nevada is clear. Coming on down, we've got 0.1 at Hawthorne, 1 at Hawthorne, 0.9, 0.5, and a 0.9. Those are all at Hawthorne. Now at Goldfield, we've got a 1.1 and a 1.2. Come on down into southern Nevada, we've got 3 little ones down here. Apparently there's 4, but I've only seen 3. So anyway, they're small. Now let's come down this east side of California. Let's look at Mammoth Lakes next. We've got 6 here today. 0.4, 1.5, 0.2, 0.8, 1.0, and 0.3. Here's a 0.3. In the mountains by Death Valley. Down here at Coso Junction, we've got 7 today. I'll call them off. 0.6, 0.3, 0.8, 0.6, 0.9, 0.9, 0.5. So those are small. 1.3 near Bodfish. And look at all these blasts. Got a 1.1 magnitude quarry blast near Mojave at 11:56 this morning at a minus 0.8 kilometers depth. Then a 1.8 quarry blast near Boron at 5:02 this afternoon at a minus 0.8 kilometers depth. And a 0.9 quarry blast near Victorville at 9:53 this morning at a minus 1.1 kilometers depth. Here's a blast down here, 1.4 magnitude. They're calling it near Los Algodones, Baja, but it's actually in California. There's a 1.8 near Ocotillo Wells. See what this is. It just came in at 1.6 at Fontana. And it looks like we've got a cluster here at Fontana. We've got 16. What is this about? Look at all these clusters today. 2.9. That's getting on up there. Let's see. Let's look at California and see what's 2.5 magnitude or higher. Here's a 2.6 at Anza. That's near Kauai. Here's the Fontana. 2.9 at Fontana. So that was the highest one in this group of 16. And they're still coming in. This last one came in at 6:27. It's 6:34 my time right now. Two 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.9. Then we got them in the ones. So these started at 5:29 this morning with a 1.8. I don't see any of them at a negative depth. Probably because it's all flat there. That's crazy. So we can see them peppered around. They're still coming in. Here's a 1.0 near Temecula, 0.7 at Anza. Here's that 2.6 at Anza. That's the largest one down here. Here's Kauai area over here. So let's see in Southern California how many we have. today. We've got 61. So that's an uptick, definitely. Here's a 2.2 in the ocean near Carpentaria. Here's one in the ocean, 1.9 off the coast of Newport Beach. Oh man. I'm all stuffed up all of a sudden. So let's come up this San Andreas fault line. Here's a 1.1 Kalami, 1.7 Kalami, 0.4 Parkfield, 1.4 Pinnacles, 1.7 Tres Pinos, 2.1 Ridgemark, 1.6 Ridgemark, and 2.5 Ridgemark. Here's a 2.5 near San Juan Bautista at 3:16 this afternoon, and 0.9 same place at 3:52 this afternoon. Here's a 1.5 near Gilroy, 2.9 near Morgan Hill, right there, 1.5 near Alum Rock, 2.0 near Union City, 1.0 near San Francisco Zoo, out in the ocean there. That one came in at 4:38 this morning. Just almost right on the red line. I mean, it is on the line practically. So I think that's all for California. Now let's zoom out. I want to get this one down here in South America. 4.5 near Arica, Chile. Just came in. And it's right on the coastline. See, it's on the land. This came in at 5:34 this afternoon, 44 kilometers deep. So let's see if there's anything else I need to look at here today. Well, they're still coming in at Kobuk. The last one was a 3.5 at 6:07. But I covered that because it's 6:39 now, unless they just now put it on the map. And a 2.5 at 5:57, 2.5 at 5:47, and then here's the one from Chile. So yeah, these three came in after the Chile one. And then Molibagu, Indonesia, is that on the map? 200 kilometers deep, 4.6. This one came in at 5:33 this afternoon, 200 kilometers deep. So that's the deepest one that we've seen today. And that was on land. So, and the deep ones cause the tectonic plates to move. What was I looking at? Okay. So I think that's a wrap for today. So, like I always say in my shows, time is short. No one knows the day or the hour of when all of this is going to end up or wind up. What came in up here? Here's a new one. 2.3 near Ferndale. This one came in at 537. This is brand new. That was not there before. Sometimes they'll put them on the map hours after they actually happen, but they'll show up red. So, yeah. So the 2.3 at Ferndale. So see, I mean, you could just sit here and literally watch the world turn here. I mean, who needs soap operas when you've got all these earthquakes going off? Now we're up to 284 in the last 24 hours. So I love you guys very much. And until next time, everyone, God bless you. Go in peace and good night.